Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining on this Daba Opportunity Showcase. We will be showcasing Lengo, Africa's first AI data house for Africa informal retail. The Lengo team is here with us. We have Ismaila Sek, the CTO, Xavier Masia, I hope I said that correctly, Chief Operating Officer from Daba Finance,
Commercial.
Commercial
Commercial.
Officer. Thank you. Thank you for the correction. Thank you. Here from the Daba team, myself, Boom CEO, and then Anthony, Chief Product Officer. We are going to start the presentation in a little bit. Just waiting for Max, the CEO, who will join us in a second, and then we will be able to get the show on the road. So the presentation will be both French and English. The first 10 minutes will be English for the presentation of Lengo. The next 10 minutes will be in French. And then the Q&A session will be bilingual. So I think Max just joined us and we're about to add him on screen.
Hello, everyone. Struggling to have my camera, but you'll see it in a second. Sorry for the delay.
All right, sounds good. For the audience joining us here, like I mentioned, I'm Boom, CEO at Daba Finance. Anthony is the Chief Product Officer here at Daba Finance, and we're building a unified investment platform for Africa, allowing individual and professional investors to identify high-quality investment opportunities on the continent across multiple asset classes. Venture capital being one of the asset classes that we offer on the platform, but there are quite a few others. Today's opportunity showcase will be focused solely on Lengo and the amazing business that they're building out of Senegal. So, Anthony, if you have anything else to add, happy to hear from you. Otherwise, we can pass it over to the Lengo team to get us started.
Let's get started.
Okay, great. First of all, thank you very much to the Daba team for making this happen and for all of those joining. Very briefly, we'll introduce ourselves. My name is Max Smith, French-American. Grew up partly in Africa. My parents used to work on the continent. And I studied in the US in political science, then came back to Africa to work in Cameroon, then in Guinea with MTN, and then in Togo on the Fulbright research. Came back to Senegal 4 years ago, first launched a SaaS market insights platform in the consumer sector. We scaled across 18 countries. We worked with quite large companies, and then realized that there was a bigger opportunity in the retail sector, having met Xavier, who had an incredible portfolio of clients, having been the CCO for Jumia in Senegal. So we launched Lengo, looking for the maximum of companies to stop guessing Africa. And that's what we're here to present today. The company was created a year ago. We got through our first fundraising. Now we're raising 1 million with VCs, looking to expand across the region. And I'll hand it over to Ismaila, who recently joined us as CTO of the company. Here you go, Ismaila.
So hello everyone, my name is Ismaila. I'm a PhD in computer science. I grew up in Senegal. I did most of my studies there, and I went to France for engineering school, where I did my PhD. So in computer vision, image processing. After that, I joined AMI, as a postdoctoral researcher, where I worked with Mustafa Sisse, head of Google Accra, lead of AI, and I worked on speech recognition on African languages. After that, I joined Lengo to apply all that into the startup environment, where I could really build something that will be used by shopkeepers and create value from that. That's all for now, and I'm happy to dive into deeper details if anyone asks for that.
So I'll conclude on the presentation quickly. So Xavier Masia, Chief Commercial Officer of Lengo and ex-CCO for Jumia in Senegal. So Jumia being the first African unicorn and similar to the Amazon marketplace in Africa. So before joining Jumia in 2019, I started my career in Singapore, working for Shopee, the main competition for Alibaba in the Southeast Asia region. And I have a business education background in China, the UK, and France. I went to ESSEC for the ones who are familiar with the French business schools. So during my time at Jumia, I was leading a team of 30 plus people, from the sellers acquisition to the growth and the marketplace until the key account management. And so at that time, I onboarded most of the CPG brands that you might see behind me. So Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and Unilever, or the big international names that you know, but also local African FMCG companies that are less well known. And so from a coming from a data-driven sector, I was really surprised how these big companies, these big names, were not making that many informed decisions on the African markets, solely because there was a missing step in their process. There was no central source of information for the informal sector in our markets. So that came to a point where the VP for Africa of Coca-Cola came to see Jumia and asked to purchase the whole beverages data, the whole beverages category data. And at that time, we knew that the e-commerce data was not really significant or representative, but still it was willing to put a lot of money. So having seen this opportunity, knowing Max from Dakar and his background, his impressive background in market intelligence, we came together, my portfolio of CPG brands, his expertise, to create Lengo for companies to stop guessing Africa.
Perfect. So we'll get right into it now and present to you Lengo AI, the first operating system for informal retail. As mentioned, we started with a very simple premise. You have 1.2 billion people making 90% of purchases in shops, but there is no central source of information on these shops for brands to win in Africa. Lengo wants to be the first to do it, but not by changing the behaviors of shopkeepers. We want to keep it really simple with pictures and speech. AI was the key missing. We stand in between shops and the brands as the gateway. We have two platforms that are already live. One is an AI chatbot connected to shopkeepers, and the second is an intelligent platform connected to the brands. We already mapped 21,000 shops in Senegal. We estimate that there's 50,000 and 1 million in Nigeria. You see the other numbers. What we want to do is to be the first to obtain the sales data on these shops and the informal retail. Once you have that, then you're able to sell hyper-local data to the brands. It's no longer just statistics and percentages. It's really accurate data on where to win and where are the best shops. In return, they pay us on a SaaS subscription basis. We've already reached 20,000 MRR in 4 months. We hope that this will increase greatly once we have the sales data. We're a data company, so of course, what is our added value to the shops is also that we push data back to them in a very simple format on WhatsApp to help them run their shops. Inventory management, stockouts, new orders that they should be making. It also helps us train our models. If there are new products on the market, we push it to them. In the end, we try to be the friends of the shopkeepers. We want to do it so well that we have a freemium model set up in mind for them. It's not so much about the revenue stream, but it's about being and providing the best value for these shopkeepers. On the other end, we already have clients asking and paying for advertising. The brands want to advertise their products, and the shops are already also interested in this advertisement because then they know about new products on the market. In the end, you have one of the first operating system on informal retail with 3 revenue streams. And I'll let it to Ismaila to present how we actually make it happen on the tech side.
So everything starts with the shopkeeper, who we connect with through our Sajo AI, which has different modalities. One of them is object detections. So as you can see here, and Maxi is going to show you our data set.
I apologize again, my Wi-Fi is super slow. So if not, Ismail, you can keep going and we'll show the models at the end.
Okay, no problem. So object detection will be used to make sure that our data is correct for verification. We will also use the ML chatbot to create a live channel where we can interact with shopkeeper, and because we say that we are their friends, so we have to interact with them.
I think you can see the images now.
Yep. So this is the largest data set of Senegalese goods you can find, and we are actually labeling it so that we can train our object detection model. And you can see, for example, you can just hover over the goods to see like different brands and see, for example, Red Bull and other brands that you probably know, Coca-Cola, for example. And this will be used to train our object detection model. Waiting for the images to pop up. Okay.
Just keep going, please. Yeah.
Now I talk about object detection for data security, checking if our data is correct, for the like ML chatbot for keeping in touch with the shopkeeper, and there is the ASR through which we will collect most of the data because it's frictionless, and as you know, like most of our shopkeepers don't read or write in French or English. So using this kind of technology will allow us to really not change their behavior and just keep speaking to us, and we will
xawma lu ko jot yaram mi dafa def yu mel ni ay càqaar.
And you heard that speech in Wolof, and you can also see the transcription because we started training models to do that, and the transcription is correct, like xawma lu ko jot yaram bi dafa mel ni lu def ay càqaar. So it's, and we have all those data modalities that we will gather into, let's say, BigQuery, and we will exploit that to get the hyperlocal data that will be very valuable. And getting that data from using that as a starting point, you can do pretty much anything. From that data, sky's the limit.
So now that you've understood that the missing key was the AR part, the question is how do we monetize that unique piece of technology? So the first one that we've already proven in Senegal with other 25 clients and reaching an MRR of $20,000 is the market intelligence sold to CPG brands. So for this example, we'll use projections on the food and beverage CPGs brands that you can find in the corner shops. So in Senegal, the figures that you see are not estimation, they are mapped brands that we found out in the market. So because we'll be the first ones to provide the hyper-local sales data, we aim to convert 20% of these brands in becoming our clients. The number you see for Nigeria and Kenya are projections we made based on the GDPs. So that brings you to an average customer value of $10,000 per month. And this also has been proven in the past with some of our clients. At the end, you have a 1 million MRR story in Senegal. And if you add up the 4 countries, that brings you to a 192 million ARR story. Second revenue stream proven also and asked by our clients is now that we can pull data from the shopkeepers, we can also push them advertising. So that looks like a Google Play, as we call it. But imagine having 42,500 unique shopkeepers impressions per day, pricing a CPM at $50 and pushing only 2 ad units on them, filling your inventory rate at 30%, that brings an additional revenue stream, million ARR on the 4 countries. Last but not least, Max mentioned it earlier, the premium services that we could sell to the shopkeepers. We want the value that we share to the shopkeepers to be so good, so important that one day they might be paying for it. That doesn't mean that tomorrow we'll charge them for it, but with a simple tiered pricing, let's say tier one is inventory management services, tier two could be consumer demand alerts, and tier three could be introduction to distributors. We could also generate an additional revenue stream through the shopkeepers. At the end, you have what we call the Lengo Sunshine, because you can easily replicate the market intelligence stream with the cosmetics brands, with the hardware brands, and with the alcohol brands. And on the left side, we've already been approached by companies such as Wave or Cofina in the microfinance space, or by e-distributors like Wasoko or Betastore to provide order management systems.
So all this combines for a game of asset buildup. So the first one being obtaining the sales data on the informal retail in Africa, and there are multiple steps below that. We're looking to build one of the strongest ASR models, so automated speech recognition on African languages. We're also working on an image processing model on consumer goods in Africa, the one that we showed you earlier, and the driven chatbot with machine learning technology, because it's not just about creating a chatbot, it's about knowing at which time and to which shopkeepers you want to talk to. The first platform to predict consumer goods flows in AI, as of today, we have the platform functioning. It's already tracking the performance of 1,500 products, but it's reacting to the market. The point of AI is that over time, you're able to predict the market and then help companies act on that. The largest pipeline of local FMCG clients, it's not just about the international companies. Most of our clients are actual local distributors and manufacturers in Africa. It's really hard to obtain these connections. Lengo already has in our CRM more than 500 contacts of these companies in Senegal, and we hope to expand that in the region. And finally, in the end, it's also a game of mapping. It's about knowing where people are, where the shops are, and KYC on them, so knowing your customer. That's something we've started with more than 21,000 shops already in Senegal. We hope to continue expanding it until the end of the year, and then look to launch in Nigeria in Q1 2024, and hopefully raise our seed round at this stage. So we thank you very much for your time, and as always, we like to end with our mission, which is hyper growth until enough companies stop guessing Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lengo team, for this fantastic presentation. Cool. So this is the first question.
All right, let's read it in English first. What are the key factors or unique insights that you believe set Lengo apart and give it a competitive advantage in the market? That's the first part of the question. And the second part is, how do you envision leveraging these strengths to position Lengo as a leader in the industry?
Et donc, la question en français pour l'audience francophone, c'est quels sont les facteurs clés et les connaissances uniques qui, selon Lengo, distinguent leurs produits et leur confèrent un avantage concurrentiel sur le marché, et comment est-ce qu'ils envisagent tirer profit de cet atout pour établir Lengo comme un leader dans le secteur.
Boom, if you don't mind, I'm sharing my screen because I think it'll be the best answer.
Okay, sounds good.
This is our answer. The first intelligence platform on consumer goods in Africa, more than 1,500 products tracked. These went from not knowing where their products are to being able to track them on a monthly basis. So the data that you see is updated every month. We won't go into much detail, but you're able to track across multiple cities the trends. You're able to see neighborhood per neighborhood where you are, where you're missing, and the return on investment that you can make if you act on these opportunities. This extends all the way to pricing, consumer preferences, and many more. And we'll be happy to talk about a subscription if you want to have more information on these categories. You can speak to Xavier on that. So that's the first thing, obviously, is that we have a first mover advantage. Our biggest clients are local companies, so we're not in the game of a consulting firm. We're a platform, and we collect the data on as many products as possible, and we open the door to the shops for these unique insights, as you mentioned.
Thank you for that. Just to maybe summarize, the response is, empowering these informal retailers with kind of like more data on their business, allowing them to survive, right? Access other financials, thanks to kind of like a better view into their business, and one of the key KPIs would be kind of like business survival and business growth for these informal retailers. Cool. Next, we have another question.
All right. Lengo's business model is structured such that FMCGs pay subscriptions and have access to real-time data on the sales performance of their goods and services. How do informal retailers benefit from Lengo?
Yeah, exactly. We kind of already answered that. But through the data that we push back to the shopkeepers, they'll be able to make a better business, increase their activities, and yeah, they will benefit
one
on
thing
this
on
way.
that, it's already happening. I mean, we've been doing it for the past 9 months with shops. You don't get into 21,000 shops unless you're bringing something to these shops. And we don't like to overpromise. The introduction was simple, is we want to be the Haritu Boutiquier in Wolof, which means the friends. We will connect you to the brand by pushing information to a brand. Products are present in the shops or not. If they see that their product is missing, they'll distribute more in your shop and you'll be able to sell more. That was the very and earnest work that Lengo has done so far with the shops. Hopefully, we look to build on that, as Xavier and Ismaila mentioned, and more data over time that will help them run their business.
Thank you very much for that.
Alrighty, next question that we have here lined up for the Lengo team is, what is your strategy to scale your business across the African market? What specific areas have you identified, and why are they an attractive destination?
And just maybe if you could answer in the context of, you've highlighted in your presentation moving to Nigeria and then Kenya. So why those destinations and kind of like the sequence? Yeah.
Of course, yeah. So first, we like to do things step by step, and we're not yet done with our work in Senegal. We've expanded to Thiès and Bourg as well in the regions, so we're covering about 60% of the economy. But first, we want to make sure that our chatbot is connected with a maximum of shopkeepers in Senegal before expanding. Our plan is for that to happen by Q4 of this year, and then we're looking into Nigeria. Why Nigeria? It's very straightforward. It's one of the countries with the largest amount of shops and the largest amount of brands. It's also, in terms of mindset, when you look at Lagos, you're talking about close to 20 million people, estimates of more than 500,000 shops. And so it helps the company also prepare for that leap. Most of the people we recruit speak both French and English, and so we're ready for that challenge. We'd like to tackle it, potentially go through first a soft launch in a secondary city in Nigeria. And this is why our investors today are also from these countries and helping us making it happen.
Max, if you allow me to add something, I would also say that we want to prove that Lengo can work anywhere. Because as you might have perceived, there is a global play at hand here. And so if we've proved it in West Africa, East Africa, Northern Africa, why not going to Southeast Asia next, or even markets bigger like India? So that's also the mindset we have.
Great.
So the last question that we have here is, how are you addressing potential infrastructure challenges, such as limited internet connectivity, that may impact the adoption of the Lengo platform in rural areas?
So first, it's by using an app that's already in the hands of. And so that's a big decision that Lengo made early on. And it's part of our mindset that we're not here to serve people, but to write our code and our user experience within their daily practices. So when we launched and we counted the shops, we noticed that more than 80% had access to WhatsApp. And so that's where currently the Lengo models are running. And that's from a business standpoint. Maybe from a tech standpoint, happy for Ismaila to break it down as well.
So for the tech, we'll just scale and we will gather the information in the cloud. And yeah, we just need enough to store everything, and we'll scale up and like we will tackle the challenge as it comes. So we are prepared for that. We are preparing for that because, as Max said, we have in mind that we want to go to Nigeria next, and Max talked about more than 500,000 shops in the capital, but more than 1 million maybe in Nigeria as a whole. So we are already having that in mind, and we are prepared for that.
Your clientele in the FMCG industry is highly concentrated among a few players. How do you manage churn and ensure that you're retaining your current customer base? What are the plans to diversify your clientele base?
So yeah, to answer the first part of the questions, that's initially what we believed as well. We thought that there were only a few actors, but in the end, the figures I showed you previously are not estimation. They are a reality for the Senegalese market. So over 500 brands. You have to keep in mind that any single product in the shop is maybe 3 clients for Lengo: the manufacturer, the brand owner, and the distributor. Okay, so that's about the depth, the market depth. Additionally, you have to keep in mind that the big names that we all know, or the plants you might have in mind in Senegal, in Ivory Coast, in Nigeria, or elsewhere, are only representative of 20% of the market. 80% are imported brands, and we also talk to these brands. And then when it comes to churn, so we recently launched several initiatives. The first one is the one we call the Lengo Ninja initiative. So we train power users within our company's team to become the owner of the Lengo platform within their company. So after that, they can train their C-levels or their colleagues. Additionally, the effort we put on research with the shopkeepers, we do it as well on the clients. And so we found out that the C-levels, the CCO, the CEOs of these companies, they just wanted high-level insights on their brands or their markets. So we've launched similar scheme as for the shopkeepers, a WhatsApp, Twitter, where we deliver weekly and monthly insights for the C-levels.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you. And this is our last question. Thank you for everybody that followed us. Thank you, the Lengo team, for your time and for presenting such an amazing business to our audience here at Daba. Is there anything that you would like to add? Maybe a parting word for anybody that what is it that they need to remember, or maybe a key fact that you'd like to leave the audience with?
Sure. Thanks for the opportunity, Boom. I think we mentioned it earlier is why we're doing this. Obviously, we're in a mindset of hyper growth, but we won't stop until we think enough companies are able to stop guessing Africa through Lengo. So those are also the people we want to work with and the people that are already investing in the company. The second thing is that Lengo a year ago raised with business at $190,000. And since then, able to multiply the valuation of the company in this upcoming pre-seed round, sorry. And so it's a VC round, but we understand the value that business angels can provide as well. And that's why we're really thrilled by this opportunity that Daba offered. And we look forward to connecting to people that understand the mission that we're after and that want to reach that goal with us.
Thank you, Max. Thank you, Ismaila. Thank you, Xavier. Thank you, Anthony.